Welcome to episode, what is it, 48 of Black Coffee and Crime. Thank you guys for coming back for another week. All new subscribers, welcome. So if you haven't seen any of our shows, or you just kind of seen something on Instagram or Facebook, welcome, welcome, welcome. And thank you for everyone for coming back. Let's see. The way the show goes is we are completely unscripted. We know generally what we're going to talk about, but we have no clue about what we're going to say, if that makes any sense. My name is Brandi. We also have Brandi W and Jackie every week joining us. And basically, we like to talk about crime. We like to talk about current events. We like to talk about things that have nothing to do with crime on this show. Typically, if you're a stickler, you want to get directly to the story, go about 30 minutes in and you'll get the meat of the story, if that's what you want to do. But if you just want to hear what we have to say about various things, then stay with us. We are not just a little housekeeping and church announcements. These are the announcements as follows. We are not law enforcement professionals. We will misspeak sometimes. We will get things wrong. Hey, in the comments, go ahead and tell us what we got wrong. Tell us what we should have included. Tell us about your experience with the subject or whatever that is, but at all times be respectful to your pastor and obey your ushers at all times. Now, along with church announcements and church business, we have to talk about something historical. And if you are religiously sensitive, I would say go ahead and exit this part right here. Go ahead and skip past this, okay? Because I don't want to offend nobody. But Brandi and I have weird discussions. I mean, just completely weird and random. And I don't know how we came across this or how we started talking about it. But we started talking about whether or not Jesus of Nazareth, the Christ child, the man, the Son of Man, and later the Holy Spirit.
You're about to say some flim flam right now.
I'm just trying to set this up to how we started talking about it.
Okay.
We were trying to figure out, just, he was a man of the deserts, kind of hot. He was here for 33 years as a grown man. Like, what was his hygiene? Brandi, how did we start talking about this in the first place?
I don't know. But I'm going to go ahead and change my glasses so I can see you more clearly.
I can almost promise you that Brandi brought this up because she always brings stuff up. She always starts stuff. I can almost promise you that Brandi started this. But somehow we start talking about whether or not he had, like his personal hygiene. And I said, just being historically rational, I said he's a grown man, he's a carpenter, he's in the desert. Sometimes he was a little lousy. He wasn't taking no bath every day.
Go ahead and keep your falsehoods against my Lord and Savior.
All I'm saying is that he would have been a little frowsy Monday through Friday. And then on the Sabbath, he went and took a bath.
What?
You said he did what now?
I'm just saying.
She said that he
wait, why you instigate, Bill? Why you instigate?
She said he was what's the word you use, frowsy?
Frowsy.
Okay.
He's a little frowsy.
Monday through Friday. But on the Sabbath,
he might have went in there and got the hot spots like most people do, with a bowl and the water and the pitcher of the water and got the hot spot. But wasn't nobody taking no bath in Jerusalem every day?
My Lord and Savior, even if he didn't take a bath, he was never musty.
Why not? He was a whole carpenter.
Not musty.
He was burning wood. He smelled a little bit like char sometimes in his hair because he had locks. So locks trap odor. So he had a little bit of the smoke in his hair. I'm not saying that the man didn't save nobody, he didn't perform miracles, and he wasn't great. I'm just saying that as a regular man walking, walking.
She make me
Through the
sick.
streets
I'm
of
tired of
Jerusalem.
the slander on my Lord and Savior. Slander.
We cannot ask for historical accuracy when we
Ain't
talk
no
about.
healed the sick, raised the dead, and he was around here musty.
Listen, maybe when he went to perform the miracles, he said, "Hold on for a second, let me get myself together, and then I'm gonna go over there."
No, because he wasn't musty. He smelled heavenly, which was his home.
That wasn't his home yet.
It was his home before he came to he came down here for us.
His home was right over there on the corner of Third.
She
Jackie, you just gonna sit her and let her slander your
no,
Lord?
you see me sitting here looking like, are you serious, girl? No.
You know what Joseph was telling. You know when he was growing
what
up.
what I think is, in that time, I would think that he probably smelled better than everyone else. However, no one is using deodorant. But I would think he would probably have a better appearance or smell, even though because I just would. That's just what
Are you? Is that an emotional response, or is that
When
an
he
accurate response?
When he left for ministry, there ain't no way he can be pulling them folks musty.
Musty.
I'm not saying that he went to visit nobody musty. I'm just saying that, like, when you went down to the carpentry shop and you went down there and you was trying to check on the status of your table, and you went down there between the hours of 9:30 and 4:15 in the afternoon, he smelled like a man.
Yeah.
Between 9:30 when the sun came up, and around 9:30 in the morning and 4:15 in the afternoon.
So you saying when he arose Lazarus from the grave, he smelled as bad as Lazarus?
Well, Lazarus was dead. I'm not saying he smelled like a corpse. I'm just saying he smelled like a man, a working man.
He wasn't just a working man, though. He was the Son of God, the Prince of Peace,
but
the everlasting Father.
In that, he did not want attention to be drawn to him. He was a regular man. He would have been a regular man.
You know how to get drawn to you? Be musty.
I'm just saying he smelled like a man, a working man.
A heavenly Father man.
He wasn't that yet.
A Prince of Peace man.
He was the Prince of Peace, but he wasn't the heavenly Prince of Peace at that time.
He was already called to that. When he was born, it was called to that.
He was on his way to that, and on his way, he had to get himself.
I can't stand up.
He was before he done came down to save my soul, Jesus. He wasn't musty.
B-Dub gonna beat you up.
Just make him so he can tell you himself. He gonna say, "Girl, I ain't never been musty."
And I'm right. As a teenager, he was coming in that house, and Joseph was like, "Mary, you better tell that boy something. Get your son to go down."
No, she was like, "I don't understand why all my other sons are musty except for you, Jesus. Can you share your brothers with your regimen?" And he's like, "There is no regimen. This is."
And then Joseph was like, and Joseph
the
back
Holy
there like,
Spirit all over me.
You need that spirit. You need to wash in the spirit. It's what that was when he was a teenager. Wash in the spirit. I'm not saying that the man was walking around like Rollo from down there under the shade tree, the one that fixed your carburetor. I'm not saying that because that's a different kind of. But I'm just saying, yes, I'm just saying that he smelled like a working man. I'm not saying that he smelled like a working goat, donkey, or nothing. I'm saying he smelled like a working man. This was a whole regular man for 33 years. He was a man. And he would have been a little frowsy sometimes. We're going to let this go because we're going to have some religious zealots, people who feel very strongly. And they're going to be in the comments.
Of coconut and palm oil.
On the Sabbath.
Every day. But he really stepped out on the Sabbath. He really stepped out.
Okay, we're going to let this go.
Tried his sandals and everything.
Now, our
I can't
consensus,
stand that.
Brandi did put this on her own personal Facebook page, so our friends can kind of chime in on this because they're very used to these crazy arguments and subjects coming up when we do this. The general consensus is
They crazy for having this argument.
They ain't
right,
gonna make it.
that part.
That
Part.
that's it.
That part. All right, so we're gonna leave Jesus alone and
Oh,
not talk about
Jesus.
his because Brandi is going to she's already saying that when we get up when we go to heaven and we're gonna have some problems. I'm gonna have some problems already, so it's okay, Brandi. I won't bring this
Before
up.
we start, I want to shout out my beautiful caftan,
That is
Ooh.
pretty. Where'd you get that?
Black Pine Boutique.
Ooh,
Lorna
that's online.
from Lorna. Yeah.
Okay,
Remember I ordered? And
I
then my
follow.
earrings are Stay and Marie.
Okay. Make sure you we'll put the links up to if Stan Marie has a link or information,
Yes.
we'll put that in the notes. And Black Pine Boutique. I do follow Black Pine
I'm
on
doing black
Instagram
pine.
and yes, Instagram and Facebook. Fabulous clothes. I've seen some of her online shows, but I haven't purchased. But now I see that Capcan and I think I will because that's pretty. When did you buy
It's
that?
beautiful.
Huh?
You have pockets?
When did I buy it?
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Remember we watched the show?
You ain't told me nothing.
You might have got off.
You ain't told me nothing. Mm. Ain't nobody told me nothing. But yeah, shout out to Black Pine and Stan Marie. And we'll put look at her showing out. That is not of the Lord. That's boastful. We will go ahead and put those links in the notes as well. Now, Jackie brought up something interesting, and then we'll get to talking about dirty old men on this show today. Today, which is July 11th, when we recorded the show, there's news that British billionaire Richard Branson has launched his own rocket into space, and he is on it. So Jackie said, "What do these rich people know that we don't know?" Because Jeff Bezos is supposed to be going to space in like a week or something. Because Jeff Bezos is trying to. Is it SpaceX for Jeff Bezos? And
I
then
think so.
And then Elon Musk is doing the same thing. But Richard Branson has been trying to get into space for a long time. I don't know what these people know. I don't know what they think they're gonna find. I don't know if they're trying
And
to establish
actually, and
colonies.
people have purchased tickets. I'm talking about the tickets have been they're sold out.
Folks is tired.
Richard's tickets are sold out. Period.
This pandemic got folks wanting to go anywhere.
Y'all remember an episode? I don't know if y'all watched Twilight Zone, but there was an episode of Twilight Zone called "Recipe for Man," where the aliens visited, and the guy they had this big book, and they were trying to decipher this book, and the
Mhm.
aliens were like, come, get on the ship, and all these people were like, yes, and they went on the ship. So at the last minute, the 11th hour, he figured out that this book was actually a recipe for man, how to cook human. So everybody's on this book, and I mean on the ship. I'm gonna find the episode, and
What?
On the
they
ship
get,
for what? To get cooked?
yeah, when he okay, so the aliens come and they're like on this envoy, and they talk to all these people or whatever, and they say, we come in peace and blah blah blah, and they have this book. He finds this book, huge book, and he's trying to decipher what this book is. So he's like, something's not right. People are leaving their jobs. They're getting on the ship. So they get on, and at the 11th, he had signed up to get on too. And at the 11th hour, they ciphered it, and it was a recipe for man, literally like fricasseed, fried, stewed with gravy and vegetables and everything. And he was trying to tell them like, don't get on, don't get on, but they forced him on, and he was like on a hunger strike because they were trying to feed the people to get them fat
Fatten them up.
Mm-hmm.
right on the ship so they can. But basically, they were harvesting humans to take them back to their planet so they could eat them. Listen, rich people. and I'm not going to specify what color rich people because it don't matter. Rich folk, listen, um, take care of the home that you have here and quit going out there because you don't know what's out there. We can't handle the mess that we have created here. So
Thank
I'm
you.
I'm just thinking that there's possibly something more powerful, up there and below. Leave it alone. We're not ready for this.
Please,
Leave it alone.
please, please leave it alone.
But if you gonna go, leave your money. Leave your wallet. So Jeff Bezos, leave your wallet.
Mhm.
Leave it. Don't take it. I mean, you can't take it with you anyway. But leave it.
Always doing something they ain't got no business messing with. You be meddling.
It's
Sit
kind of like
down.
they don't have nothing else to do. You know what I mean? Um, I was watching TikTok because that's one of my favorite places to be.
Me
And
too.
there was a lady, and I can't credit her because I don't know who she is, but she said that she was having a conversation with a black gentleman, and he said that the reason why black people, to paraphrase phrase, but the reason why we don't do extreme sports is because our lives are extreme. Like our lives, we are always in survival mode anyway. So our lives are at 10. We are always at a level 10. So we don't need to seek adrenaline or things like that for the
No.
most part because we are already there walking outside the door. So people who don't have to have that experience, based on what she was saying, that don't have to have that experience, you seek out things that give you that adrenaline and give you that sense of adventure. Leave it alone.
Makes sense.
Leave it alone.
Makes plain sense.
They gonna go to a planet like the what was that island, the Sentinelese, that island in
Or
Indonesia.
would the tribe, they talking about the tribe that don't let nobody come on out?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And killed that dude, killed that pastor who thought he was going to be a specialist. Like
He
he
was gonna
knew
deliver the
this, but
word.
thought he was going against what they already had been and told him, like, hey, don't go.
I
But
think it's
he was like,
Now,
oh, no.
Sentinel
you don't
Island.
know these folks already might be saved, and you coming up there thinking you about to do something.
Right.
Well,
Who
they
said
killed
you
it.
wasn't already saved?
They killed it. They can't even get the body back.
They murdered. But that's what they
Murdered him.
do. And they killed some fishermen like that. They almost tried to take down a helicopter trying to rescue some other fishermen. But I'm thinking like y'all going into space trying to explore and try to find a new place to live in a colony to get away from the mundane and the regular working class. Y'all go up there and find some of them Sentinelese like alien like folk.
I mean,
And then
why
you
you
dig
got to
that
be
shit
messing
down.
with folks up? Just leave them alone.
Exactly.
Got nothing
I
else
mean,
to
you want people
do.
come looking at you, looking at your house, looking at your everything, just walking in your house, talking about
Nothing
you.
else to do. So
And they are fully
hopefully
prepared to take out everybody.
everything with
Talking
some
about, I
spears.
got something I
Equipped.
need to say.
With some spears.
Equipped.
So
With
hopefully
They'll let you know how bad they are right there. They can kill you off with a. They done kill everybody that's the case.
you done had World War II come through with battleships and everything that went around that island. Ain't nobody
Yes.
tried to land on the island. We're like, nope, we don't
Mm-mm.
we don't want the war in the Pacific happened and them people were okay. Okay. So hopefully Richard Branson and Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk and all of their contemporaries and the people with money to buy tickets, hopefully y'all don't run into that type of situation on another planet. Because guess what? We can't come get you. We,
Yeah, just leave the folks alone to
we
their
can't come
business.
get you. We can't come get you. So while you're trying to get away from us, we the ones that's gonna have to come get you. And it's not like a trip to Everest where you get caught at the top of the mountain with the Yeti. We can't come get you. Nothing that we can do. We cannot come get you on another planet. And listen, I ain't going. They could be giving away free tickets and government cheese. I ain't
They're not
going.
going.
I'm good.
Not.
I don't even trust it's gonna make it there. So
Well, I mean, he's in space. I don't know if he's trying to land on a planet, but he is
He's
in.
back.
So he
He's
did
back.
launch into orbit.
And he is back. He
I know.
just made it back.
So he done made his own spaceship, old luxury spaceship, and then went up there.
Yep.
Just crazy. Yeah, they said that him and his crew successfully landed after reaching the edge of space.
What's the edge of space?
I guess until you go into
Assuming,
deep
I don't think
space,
space has the edge.
until you go into like deep space where the I don't know, the atmosphere changes so
yeah, I guess
drastically.
so.
Maybe we do need a space force if folks gonna be doing
No, we don't.
all stuff.
No, we don't. No, we don't.
But I really don't know what a space force would be doing.
Because guess what? You ain't got no business up there. You ain't.
Someone says the edge of space is the common line, which is the boundary between Earth's atmosphere and outer space. So
We
I'm not
don't need
going up
no
there.
Space Force. Keep
What you
your
going up there
ass.
for?
Keep your ass.
Well, I don't think
at home.
we shouldn't be up there, but if folks gonna be up there doing all, somebody got to be up there to patrol. Come, stop, telling the other
Listen,
folks to.
that's called neighborhood watch. So if Richard Branson and them, they got their own little neighborhood watch, take the security with you. Why we got to pay for that? You because I can't go. I'm not gonna benefit from a Space Force,
Well,
but
I
I
don't even
gotta pay
understand
for it.
their job, so we'll see. They're
You,
supposed to be the headquarters is supposed to be here in Huntsville. Supposed to be.
I gotta pay $9 for some cotton candy grapes because y'all want to go into space and just see what's up there. You gonna raise the
All
price
that
on my grapes because you want to see
Who kind of candy grapes
what's
go
what.
hard?
And I'm gonna tear some up in a minute too because they're good and cold now.
Who they go so hard? That's so good.
So that so nah, you take your own security. I won't pay for that. I won't pay. All right, let's go ahead and get into our stories for this week. Okay, so Brandy actually chose this inadvertently. She was I don't know if you were watching, Brandy was watching a documentary on Ed Gein, and I was like, oh, okay, I saw Ed Gein. And she's like, so I said, we should just do that. And she's like, is that overdone? I said, Ed Gein is never overdone. Somebody that sick and twisted is always welcome. So I said, well, since we're doing that, we should also talk about Albert Fish. So she's
Nasty.
like, who is Albert Fish? And I said, what a
Being,
treat this is
I
about
thought
to
the
be for
exact
you.
same thing. I thought the same thing. I'm like, who's Albert Fish?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
So what a treat this is going to be. So I think I was at work that night. So she starts watching, she finishes watching Ed Gein. And so she's telling, she's texting me and then she's calling me. She's texting me and she's calling me. And then when she gets to Albert Fish, it was like everything that she watched, she was aghast at everything about Albert Fish. And if you guys don't know who Albert Fish is, it's this little old
who was
innocuous
doing
looking
too
guy
much.
who was doing the absolute most.
A perv.
He was more than perverted. So I guess we can talk about Albert Fish first because uh chronology. Oh, I cannot speak today. Time wise, we're just gonna keep it simple. Time wise, he comes first. Albert Fish was born in 1870, died in 1936. He was a cannibal, a child killer, and a sadomasochist. Like, y'all, he was okay. So
Perverted.
basically, he was born in Washington, D.C. I think it was him and three other siblings. His father dies. His mom doesn't have enough money to take care of him, so he's sent to an orphanage. So, and that was common during those times to send your kids to an orphanage if you were unable to take care of them. But these orphanages really weren't to um, so that your kids could be adopted out. They were just kind of like a home for wayward children, and they were horrible because you weren't trying to keep these kids healthy to adopt them to families. You were just taking care of them, and barely so. So all kinds of unspeakable things happen at these places. And to Albert, this is where he starts to develop his taste for the macabre. And this is where he has his first inklings of homosexuality and being his sexuality being associated with his arousal being associated with pain in this place because they would beat the kids and he would be aroused by that.
He was just,
yeah.
I can't believe at that age that you would just be aroused by somebody getting beat.
Well,
As a kid.
Or being beat himself.
right.
Um,
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, typically as humans, uh, an arousal could be sexual or any, or intellectually or anything. Kids are aroused by touch. They like to be touched in certain ways, or, they hear certain things. And so I think as humans, we start to develop those things kind of early. Most of us don't know what those things are sexually or how they'll develop sexually until we're older. But apparently his mind was really advanced on that. And so I could just say that Albert Fish was probably just a bad seed. And we don't really say that to, a lot of people, but he was a really bad person
So you
from
think
the
he was
very beginning.
abused? You think he was abused, or that he just?
I think that he was abused
he
in the
was abused.
orphanage. Yes.
Yeah, he was abused.
I think he was abused in the orphanage, and that kind of awakened something in him very early, much earlier than what is organic for most of us in our 11, 12, when we start to kind of develop sexual organs and start to feel differently. He started this when he was very young, and
8, 9, right? Like 8 or 9 is when he was in
He was
orphanage.
young.
Yeah, so it really warped him and awakened something, like awakened the beast in him. So he goes on, he goes home, he goes back home to his mother, because in those times, your parents, when they got to a better situation, they could come and get you. So he goes back with his mom, he starts working, he has his first homosexual encounter with a newsboy, quite young, maybe 13, 14 years old. And then it just gets worse. As he gets older, he starts to molest little boys. Like he had a preference for little boys under the age of 6. He also had a preference for the mentally disabled and African American boys, because both of these demographics were vulnerable, and he knew that African American boys, the police weren't going to investigate what happened to them. They weren't, they wouldn't even think about even going to the police. So they were easy targets. So he was going for the easy targets, those under 6, mentally disabled, and African American boys. His mom, he becomes a male prostitute. And while he's prostituting, he's doing this, he's continuing his molestation and rape of boys. His mom makes him get married when he's 19. So I guess the ideology was, if I just get him a woman, which is common, it's a common thought. If I just get him a woman, it'll be corrected. He won't have these sinful urges anymore.
But he didn't want no woman.
No, but
he didn't get a woman either.
No, he got married at 19, and he had 16.
She was 6 years younger than him, though.
That was common too, unfortunately.
Yeah, you're right.
We're talking about the early 1900s. Well, he was born in 1970, so we would have still been in that 19th century. When he got married.
You're right.
Who was like, my daughter? I want my daughter to marry him.
But I mean, that was common for young teenagers to get married, young teenage girls, after they are sexually matured, which meaning they got their period.
Yeah, it didn't even matter.
They were of marriageable age.
Like what their family had to offer. Like they had a farm, they had this, they had that.
That, as well as if it was a large family and they didn't have enough money to stretch to feed these kids, they started marrying off their kids. So that also plays. So yeah, if he had something to offer, that's great. But also, this is one less mouth we have to feed, and she can go. So she gives them 6 kids. That lasts until about 1917. So even when they were married, he was still continuing what he was doing.
He was still doing it.
She left him.
He did not touch his own kids.
He didn't touch his kids. Right. He did not molest his kids.
Good father to his children.
But he made them participate in his proclivities. So in 1917, his wife leaves him. and goes. She leaves him and goes with a handyman. Like she took Rollo the handyman and was like, "I'm out." She leaving the kids and him. Like I can't do this. So what he doesn't molest his kids, but he has his kids participate in his like
Self-inflicted pain.
yes. So he was
Yeah.
into self-flagellation. So he would like flay himself, beat himself for the arousal, for the pain. Uh, he would have his kids sit on his back and like get a paddle or something like that, and he would play this game with them where they would he would say put up your fingers, and if I can't guess the number of fingers you have up, then you have to hit me with this paddle. Of course they can't, he
Like
can't
the
see
paddle had
like
nails.
nails or something in it to so I'm quite sure the kids are like, daddy's kind of weird, but
Okay.
all right, fun.
I
um
mean, at this point, they probably knew their daddy was like, "Oh, let's play the counting game."
yeah, here come daddy with that damn paddle again. But of course, as long as he ain't beating us, then we good. um So he continues this. Now, one of the craziest things about Albert Fish, this wasn't found out until he was actually arrested and sent to Sing Sing. But Albert Fish used to insert needles into his genital area. They
Just
found
Google.
over 30 needles and nails inside of his genitals. You can see x-rays of the scattered shards of whatever inside his pelvic region. So he was walking around for years with needles and nails in his. Listen, if I get an ingrown hair, I can't. I can't.
Can't function.
I can't because oh Jesus, I cannot. And any woman who is able to, who has a uterus, that you know, anytime your period comes, that is the worst. Some of the worst thing. It feels like you're, and if you've had a baby, it feels like your
Shit.
bones are grating against each other. And that's just the one time. But you're just walking around for years. But this walking around for years with an ingrown. Just
It's worse than the ingrown because you had 26. It was actually 26 needles.
but that's what I'm saying. Like that's the only thing I can equate it to. The pain that I have when there's an ingrown hair.
Only thing, because in order for it to get there, you got to push it.
And that's a very sensitive area.
You have to push it in there. You just can't just push. You got to push it down up in there.
Yeah.
And according to
They
some
probably weren't
guys,
sharp. People probably weren't super sharp.
right? And according to some guys I talked to, because when guys talk about getting hit in their parts, they're like, it hurts. It's the worst pain on the planet. So guys are super sensitive. Men are super sensitive in the genital area. So wow.
And he's putting them in himself. And he's pushing them through because they're all in his pelvis area.
Right?
Right. He's not just pushing in and stuck in the meat. He's pushing all the way through where they were just the x-ray. They're all over the pelvis area.
I'm talking about you got to put some force to get it down through there.
And by the testicles, they're already super sensitive. So it's the testicles and that little piece of meat behind it, the gooch. That's where you stick it.
What was this?
That's where he was sticking them.
Right up in there.
Right there.
Now he got this fascination when he went to a museum. I forget what the exhibit was for, but he went to a museum and he saw like a penis in a jar or something. And he was fascinated by it. And he actually had a lover, named Thomas something, that he didn't kill, but he tortured him for about 2 weeks. And he ended up cutting part of his penis off so he could keep it. No one knows what actually happened to Thomas. They know he didn't kill him.
Thomas Keaton. Okay. I was trying to find out about that penis.
They didn't kill him. So but he did cut off a portion of his penis so he can keep it as a souvenir. So that's where his fascination started with penises, like actually keeping them and mutilating them. So he said what they said, it was a cross section of a penis. So it was like a scientific study of what the inside of a penis looked like.
You
Um,
know what happened to penis?
do you think he ate it?
Yeah, that fool ate it.
They don't say, but I definitely think he ate it.
I mean, he ate old butt shake.
Do you think he ate it raw? Was it like sushi?
No,
Or
he
did he
cooked
cook
it.
it?
He didn't want eating stuff raw. He
Okay.
cooked it up like in a meal. You know, like a
Like pork and beans,
side of penis and Brussels sprouts and rice or mashed potatoes.
a little some field onion or something like that. Um, so
He
he
didn't
started.
eat it. He didn't eat it raw. He what? But he did eat the parts.
Yeah. So that, and then from there, he just spirals down. He attempted to abduct a child that was 8. Her parents came out, was
How
able
was
to
it?
kind of fend him off. He killed a little boy, Francis McDonald. Um, cut him up and he ate him. He also killed another 4-year-old boy named Billy Gaffney. They never found his body, but he tried to abduct 2 little boys, 2 4-year-olds, and the one boy got away. And so they said, "What happened to Billy?" He's like, he went with the boogeyman is what they
Boogeyman.
call him. They said the boogeyman, and they never found the body. But once they captured Albert Fish, he confessed, and basically he gave a very gruesome detail about what he did to this little boy. So that's why they didn't find him, because he disemboweled and cut him up. Um, the thing that the murder that got him caught was Grace Budd in 1928. He was so very crafty. He put an ad in the paper saying that he needed help at his farm. So Grace Budd's brother Edward, they used to, kids would go to work early. They would go to work early. That was common, and at an early age, rather. And her
He
brother,
was
I think it
pretty
was,
old. Wasn't he like 14 or 15?
I don't think Edward was that old. I think he was.
Mm-hmm.
Let me look.
He was.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see.
I thought he was a teenager.
I don't think so. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Let me see.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he was a teen.
Hmm.
I could be wrong.
Maybe not. I mean, he
I can't
had in his
remember.
mind that he was going to abuse. I mean, abuse him and trick him into working for him. But he was trying to trick him to work for him.
Right. So he writes the letter. So he goes to their family to meet them. Um, so he actually intended to kill the boy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he
Mm-hmm.
did.
He intended to kill the boy, but he goes to their house to pick him up, and then he sees Grace, and she's 10. Beautiful little girl. And so he plays his cards right, and sweet looking old man. He looks a little grubby, but it's 1928. Uh, and he convinces the mom and says, "Hey, my sister's having a birthday party for one of her kids. Um, I'd like to take Grace." And again, this is 1928. We would dare not do this now. Her parents allow her to go. He takes her to this dilapidated farmhouse, and he proceeds to torture this baby for about almost 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
One of the most horrible things that he does is he writes a letter to her mother detailing what he has done to her. Basically, he says that,
Well, he didn't say he did it. He started telling the story about these seamen who
Mm-hmm.
eat children, and that's when he starts talking about the butt shank. Well, he said something about the butt being the best part because it has the fat and something, but I call it butt shank, and
yeah,
how that's the best part, and all this stuff, and then he starts talking about a little girl and who, you know,
it took
but the whole time
him 9 days to eat her,
to eat her. Yeah, tells the mom all of this.
and that
Yep.
her this what Brandy's talking about, the butt shank. He says something like her ass was the most tender part. Like, he really enjoyed not only hurting himself, but gruesomely hurting other people physically, as in Grace, but then taunting his parents. And that letter is how he was tracked down because it kept saying this old man. You know, everyone is
And this is
describing this old man.
the part of the letter that got me was the last two sentences. He says that I didn't F her. She died a virgin. Like that, like, don't worry. I didn't abuse her. I didn't sexually abuse her. I didn't sleep with her. I just ate her over 9 days. But his thing was like, see, I didn't abuse her. She's died a virgin. Like,
I think because one of the things is, uh, of course, killing somebody gruesomely like this was horrible, but I think rape was worse than murder. And so, and then the fact that he didn't like women, you know, he wasn't sexually attracted to women. So he's basically setting up, like, even though this letter was sent anonymously, he's setting it up like, you know, I didn't go that far. Like, I didn't violate her this way, but I did find her
just ate body.
I just ate her. So it's something different. It didn't have anything to do with sexuality. It's just, I had to have her literally, but I didn't violate her. Like, as if
but wouldn't it be a sexual arousement for him though? Because that was his pleasure.
But I don't know. But was he sexually aroused by killing her? Because he wasn't attracted to women.
But he was true. He liked little boys. But I'm just wondering.
He was sexually aroused by eating the bodies.
Yeah, because it was an act. That was his thing.
But he would have, in his other murders, he actually did commit the sexual act.
Well, I guess he was trying to save this little girl, as to say she's so precious.
She remained, she was precious. She was, you know.
You're right, because it's his preference for little boys. That was his preference.
So she's a symbol. Like, she has to remain pristine. Her image has to remain pristine even in death, because I don't want to sully that part of her. Which is, again, the most twisted shit in the world, because you literally ate this child. Right. Another thing that Albert Fish did to himself, and I forgot this, not only did he, you know, insert the needles into his pelvic region, he actually used to take kerosene and dip a rag in kerosene or some other kind of flammable and put it in his anus and light that mug on fire.
We forgot also
back up, Terry, back up.
Put it in reverse, Terry.
His drink his pee, his poop.
Yeah.
Nothing redeemable about Albert Fish. Did all of it. Like, when you think about the worst serial killers that we've ever heard about in our history, Albert Fish is at the top of the food chain. Because you get guys who are cannibals, you get guys who do this, you get guys who do that. This man did everything. It's like he is the blueprint for.
But drink his pee and eat his poop. I asked Brandi, do we think he cooked it like a loaf?
That's so disgusting.
No one's cooking doo-doo, okay? No one is cooking doo-doo. If you've ever been around.
Well, since he like messing with it, you think he just took it on out and just?
I think he cooked it like in a loaf. And, you know,
no, Brandi. If you've ever been around farm animals and been to where there's manure and they're making fertilizer, that is the worst possible smell. And warmed over and cooked doo-doo.
It's horrible.
You might add a little flour to make it a little.
Now, Brandi, see, we got in trouble the last time we talked about the mashed potatoes. Please do not get us in trouble again. Okay?
This is about his own chi, though. This is about his own chi.
But we got in trouble about the mashed potatoes and the man who killed his neighbor in Oklahoma. We are not about to get in trouble for this. I ain't gonna let you do it. It's bad enough.
But this ain't about that guy. Like, I'm saying, he cooked the bodies. I don't just think he was. I mean, I know he wasn't drinking it on ice because they probably didn't have ice like that. But I don't think he was just eating it like that, like just raw.
think he was. I think he was digging it out.
Terrible. And the fact that you could eat feces, I don't really think you have that much
It
of
don't
a
even matter.
preference at that point to say, you know what, I only like
Cook
mine.
my shit.
So at least
Cook my shit.
fried
Don't get my shit raw. Cook it. Cook my shit.
patties.
I don't think he was remaking it into patties and putting it between two slices of bread. I don't think he was doing that. I think he was
Ketchup.
taking it directly from the source and eating it. Like,
The leftover corn.
Oh, Brandon. Oh, that's my nasty pose. Oh.
okay, we were
I
just
think he was
talking
just
about
throwing it in his mouth like that.
Silence of the Lambs not too long ago, and I said that that is one movie that I will never, ever, ever
Nice.
watch again in my entire life. Brandy says she watches it every time it comes on. I will not watch
Nice.
Silence of the Lambs, and the reason why I
Why?
won't watch that movie, let me tell you why. Because in the very beginning of the movie, it set me up for failure. When Clarice goes into the prison where Hannibal is, and she is walking down that dark corridor, and that man slings a handful of human juice her face.
Puts the lotion on his skin.
Oh, did you see how thick it was?
You know he wasn't eating right. You know he wasn't drinking enough water.
I can't. So just, ooh.
He had old prison food. Black
Ooh, baby, that was close. Let me get my thoughts together. I just had to let me get it together. That was ooh,
kind of slapped her in the face.
Oh,
ooh, no. Let me
y'all
get it
remember,
together.
hey, 90s kids, y'all remember Double Dare on Nickelodeon?
Yes.
That's what the
I mean, they showed it quick. It didn't like they dwelled on it on the side of her
Brandy,
face.
that was a lasting image that has remained in my head to this day. I can take Buffalo Bill, which we'll talk about with
to wipe her face off.
I still watch it because I like it.
But you see what Hannibal did. The next time she came back, they said he had died. He had swallowed his tongue.
That's fine. That doesn't make Hannibal redeemable. But what I'm saying is,
but I'm saying he took care of it, so every time she came to visit him, she didn't have to worry get slapped with some splack on the side.
Blind judge.
oh, I've seen some sick stuff in my life. Okay.
Blind judge. No.
What was the website? Oh my God. They used to show it was Faces of Death. And then there was a website that was just like Faces of Death. I forget the name of it. So if anybody knows,
oh, it used to be popular too. It used to be very popular.
Tell me what it is.
That website that used to show like gross stuff. Like
yes.
I didn't look at that at all.
I used to look at it all the time.
I used to look at that, and that I was grossed out, but not enough not to go back to it.
But, I can't do it.
But that scene in Silence of the Lambs did it for me. So just the thought of that stuff on her face. And then Albert Fish eating warmed over doodoo. I cannot.
Well, Jackie said he just dug it right on out and ate.
I think he took it. I think he ate it off the hook. I think he ate it straight off the hook. I think
no.
So.
No.
I think he ate it off the hook. Now, okay, so with a person like Albert Fish, like I said that he was rotten from the core from the very beginning, but prior to his father dying and him going to that orphanage, there's really no indication that he would have turned out this way. So do you think that him going to that orphanage is what turned him or what awakened that?
Because we really didn't see where did it start going sideways?
As far as we know,
I think at the orphanage.
Like that's where he started having these sexual urges.
Just like why this stuff starting to go so
he liked to watch the boys in the shower. Was it one of the guards who touched him inappropriately, or he liked because they would.
It really doesn't say anything about his brothers, really.
No, It's all, you know,
Yeah.
it doesn't say about his family. And also at the orphanage, they used to get punished. And in those punishments, there was some pretty severe beatings, and he got sexually aroused by that. So
Mm-hmm.
now they did do a
Or
psych eval when he was arrested for the Grace Budd murder. They did do a psych evaluation. You know, he was a psycho. But
and was saying God asked him to do
yeah.
it. Yeah.
And
Isn't
so
that crazy?
psychiatric medicine at that time was in its infancy. So like, do you think
They
they were just
knew he
saying that
was
he was
insane,
insane
but
because of what he did, or was he really insane because of something else? Because the acts that he committed are like, you can't even think about, the average person
they
can't even think
said
about
he was
doing.
insane, but they didn't care. They were sending him to the electric chair.
I
And
think they
this fool
needed
was looking forward to it.
Yeah, he's looking forward to it.
but okay, and you said that, you know, because he was insane, he really wasn't cognizant that he was doing right or wrong. I don't know if that's true though. So was he
Well, they
insane
didn't
for
wait
doing
around to find out or study it. They just
right?
sent him on.
But was he insane because he did what he did, or he was insane even if he didn't do that? You know what I mean? Like, so if he didn't do these things, if he wasn't a cannibal, would he still have been
Mm.
insane? Or
Mm.
was he declared insane because at that time no one was doing the shit?
That's a good question. Because I'm like, BW, you have to wonder, was this who he was going to be anyway?
Right.
Because if he once he started getting the beatings, he realized that's pain. So even if he didn't go there, even if he didn't go to the orphanage, would the next pain inflicted thing that happened to him, whether it would be a spanking or someone punch him, would he have still felt that same pain? Would he have
Or the
still
pleasure from
immediately
it.
pleasure from that and realize this is something I enjoy and
Yeah.
maybe I should try to do this?
I
I mean, I
mean,
don't know.
anybody, whether they say they're insane or not, anybody that cuts up a body and cooks it and eats it for 9 days, there's no way that you're.
Right.
But see,
I
okay, there was
agree.
a guy in
You want to.
Germany. Um,
I agree.
there's a guy in Germany, I believe in the early 2000s. I want to say his name is Armin Meiwes. I think his name is Armin Meiwes. He got onto this website, a cannibal website, and he said he wanted to eat people.
Oh,
He
yeah.
had to take care of his mother. He was like Ed Gein. So we're gonna talk about Ed Gein. So he was more like an Ed Gein kind of person. But he got onto this website and he says he wanted to cannibalize somebody. So this other guy
Yeah.
comes in, he's like, yeah, I want to try that. So the guy comes to his house. Mivas has a lot of money. His mom left him money. He was very sheltered by his mom and kind of
That is a lot like Ed Gein.
right, abused by his mom. So I guess this is our transition to Ed Gein, but it does mirror what's going on with Albert Fish.
I
So
remember that story.
the guy comes, the guy who's in a relationship comes, and Armin Meiwes is recording this on video, and the
Mhm.
guy, he cuts off the guy's penis and
What
tries
is
to
with
eat it.
penises?
I don't know
Piece of-
because it's gristle, so I don't, you know, it's like eating a gizzard, I guess. I don't know.
Folks buy a pack of gizzards. You know that, right? And cook them on up.
Right, but it don't have all that fibrous tissue like a, you know, gizzard ain't that fibrous like that. I mean, you fry gizzard pretty hard and get some fries
I don't
and you
know.
good.
You got
So
muscle.
yeah, but I don't think eating the tip of a peen is like eating a gizzard.
Mhm.
Just
Are
you
you
know,
chewing?
you do it the
Yeah,
bus
she
stop
chewing.
too. Right. You know,
Yeah, she
is that
chewing.
how you do it? Yeah. You just do the bus stop too for like hours? Like, is that how you do it? You know?
What'd you say, Brandy? Is she chewing? She's chewing.
Yeah.
Well, because you got to get it back here. You gotta get your whole side of your face got to scrunch up, and you got to get it. You know, I'm just
Maybe
a man.
about the crunch of the skin, like pig feet skin, like the crunch.
Exactly like pig feet. I'm assuming that would be the texture once it's cooked, like pig feet, like cooked pig feet, because you don't chew pig foot.
I used to tear up pig feet,
Yeah,
I did
tear it
what
up,
too.
pickled or cooked.
Pickle.
a pickle,
I used to eat
wax
pickle
paper.
when I was a kid.
I ate pickled pig feet, but I also ate pig feet cooked and they're very chewy. It's very
But I can
chewy.
tear up a pickled one.
Yeah.
I was a
Yeah.
little kid. I was a little thing, and I tear up
Me too. Tear it up, baby.
with a
You want
bunch
some
of
East Texas too? Baby, they ate them pig
It's
feet.
a
They
different
pink.
texture
They
when
pink.
it's pickled. It's a different texture when it's pickled versus when it's cooked. When it's cooked, it's very, very it's very chewy, and because the skin and the fat, so it's very, very chewy. As when it's pickled, it's still chewy, but the texture changes because of the pickling process. But I imagine, but that's what that tasted like. So he goes on, he's still filming, and he basically he kills the guy. He
You
cuts
get
him up.
distracted so easily.
I know. We go. This is why we say we know what we're going to
Sorry.
talk about, but we don't know what we're going to say.
Sorry. Look at
So, so he cuts the guy up and he puts him in the freezer. The guy's boyfriend looks for him. They find him at Armin Migas's house. Well, Armin Migas wasn't declared insane. He wasn't insane. And because the guy kind of consented to this, it was like a huge legal battle in Germany. Like, can we prosecute this guy? Because this guy consented to cannibalism, to be cannibalized. So it's kind of like with Albert Fish, because he committed cannibalism, he was declared insane. But then you have a guy like Armin Meiwes, I believe that's his name, who did the same thing 70 years later, but he's not insane. Is it a change in the medicine or change in the perception of what we think now?
They didn't want him to be insane, maybe because they couldn't give him the death penalty or couldn't prosecute them the way they would want to if he was insane. That kind of takes away.
That man's in prison right now. He didn't get it. I don't think he's in prison right now. I'd have to look him up.
I think he got out.
Yeah, I don't think.
Or either got like a small amount of time, but I do know that was such a big story because it was, do we prosecute him or we don't? Because it was an Oriental young guy, I believe, and he asked for it. He asked to be ate. So
you need to rephrase that because he asked to be ate sounds don't sound. One thing about old Fish though is when they did pull the hammer down on him in the black chair, the first time they did it, it didn't work because he had all that metal in him. So they had to kind of do it again. Like all the lights and stuff went out because it was like too much charge. So they had to go ahead and let the hammer down on him again.
Yes, his name is Armin Meiwes.
Probably enjoyed every moment.
It has a German spelling, so Meiwes. He was convicted in 2006 of murder and sentenced to life imprisonment. He did get life.
Yeah, but they probably can't kill him.
The first time, that's what I'm talking about. The first time in 2004, he was convicted of manslaughter and sentenced to 8 years and 6 months in prison. In 2016,
yes,
manslaughter because the guy consented to it.
He asked for it.
Yeah, did he write a document?
They had exchanges, email exchanges. They had email exchanges.
It was in a like a dark web chat room type of situation.
You need to get that thing notarized or something.
And then they retried him in 2006, and that's how he got life imprisonment. But the first time, he only got 8 years and 6 months.
No, we need to have a notarized document.
It was another story like that here, where the woman was asked to be like kind of murdered. The guy wanted to murder someone in this dark chat, and he did it. So
why would you want to be murdered, though?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to look it up.
And so that means that the intended victim is the one that's insane. Like,
yeah.
Do they think that it's not really going to happen, or it's just
no? I'm not going to do it because I don't want to be charged for murder.
I don't know. It's weird. It's very weird.
So I said I would have to have a witness. It has to be notarized with a witness because I'm not going to prison because you want to be murdered.
Yeah. Well, you want to do the murdering because you're soliciting it. So it's kind of like a solicitation of murder because you want to do this.
And you need to pay me.
Why? You're gonna die. You're gonna
No,
die.
I'm talking about a person who's supposed to be murdering the person.
But why? You're the one that's doing the solicitation. Like you're putting it out there. Like, hey, I want to murder somebody. Then I come back in and I go, okay, you can murder me. So you're the one doing the solicitation. So why am I paying you?
wouldn't be putting it out there. I'd wait for them to say something,
That's like a
and then I'd
prostitute
make sure I have all in mind.
So,
and you're gonna pay.
That's like a prostitute paying a John. It doesn't make sense. All right,
I at least want some money on my books, just in case, even though I have all this paperwork to show that this is what the person wanted.
Ain't nobody trying to put money on your books. Nasty ass.
All right. It's gonna be my money when the person, the murderee, is soliciting for somebody kill me.
No, but like the murderee, and that's not even a damn word. The murderee is not doing the solicitation. The murderer is doing the solicitation.
Oh, I thought the murderee was like,
no. They were both in this chat room. They were both in this chat room. Armin Mivas said, "Hey, I want to murder somebody. He's gay, but I don't know if that has anything to do with it. But yeah, he wanted to murder
the chat room is a cannibal chat room.
That's a cannibal chat room.
It's a cannibal chat room.
So you're posting what you would want to do and what you want somebody to do to you, like blood play and all that stuff.
Some dark thing that ain't for real. I'm just saying, I want to murder someone.
It was very real. It was very real. This chat was very real.
I understand. Wait, I bet you wasn't no black folks in there.
Probably not. I don't know. I don't know how we got there, but probably not.
My son just said he been thinking that the whole time. Wasn't no black people in there.
No.
But the chat, it was on the dark web. Like the dark web is
real. You're not
gonna be on there, no way. You're not gonna be there. But that's where they met it. I remember the story. They met in the cannibal room.
He put a post in there. He put a post in there that this is what he wanted to do to somebody. So Armin Mivas was like, "Hey, I want to do this to somebody." The guy responds. So I don't know if the guy thought that this was real, but he did respond to it, and he traveled, took a day off work, and traveled to him to have this happen. So let's go ahead and just talk about
the murderee took the day off.
Yeah.
Oh, he took all the days off.
You know what? I cannot. I tried to can, but I cannot. We are gonna go ahead and start talking about Ed Gein, okay?
I mean, his little egg crate. I mean, his milk crate was packed. Just take it on with you. You ain't. Why would you take a day off? Just
don't show up. There's no call, no show. Just don't show up. He told his boyfriend he concocted some kind of story to his boyfriend of why he was going where he was going or whatever, but he did not tell his boyfriend what he was doing. So, yeah. All right. So Armin Mivas, we're going to transition into Ed Gein. So Armin Mivas, the way that he marries Ed Gein is because of his relationship with his mother. Ed Gein was born in 1906. He had a mom and dad. His dad dies of a heart attack, I think. So it's Ed, his mom, and his brother. Ed has always been weird. They lived in Plainfield, Wisconsin. At the time that the murders happened or that he was captured, there was like 680 people in Plainfield, Wisconsin. He took a day off to get murdered. He put in for this. He put in. He went to the supervisor and said, "Look, I need Thursday off." Why?
Don't make sense.
The plan is for me to meet my cannibal lector that's going to take care of the situation.
I'm planning to get murdered.
Yeah, it's a catering job. Like, I don't know. But okay. So
Brandy's so disturbed.
I cannot be distracted by Brandy. Okay. We just have to plow ahead. We're gonna keep coming back to this. This is going to come back in this portion. That's gonna come back up. So in Plainfield, Wisconsin, there's like 680 people that live there, right? So it's really, really tiny, really, really white. Okay, with 680 people there, if you look at the recordings, the people are like really happy-go-lucky, and these two are too much. really just, oh, he was a nice guy. But I think if there were, some people of color, they would have been a little bit more suspicious and caught up with him a little bit faster.
Mm.
I'm just gonna keep going past these two right here. So basically, Ed has this brother. They go hunting because it's a thing there, right? In the wintertime. He goes hunting, and then there's I think Ed started a fire, and his brother, he loses his brother, and he goes to the police and says, I can't find my brother in this fire. But when the police go back to the forest, Ed takes them right to where his brother is, and his brother's dead. Has some mysterious bruising, but they don't explore it. And so now it's just him and his mom. Well, this is where the
Well, they
normal
did. They said that they saw the brother. The brother was in the field for the fire, and that he did have head injuries.
right.
But they
They
just
didn't
said,
really
"Oh,
explore why he
No.
had injuries.
They just
They
stuck
were
with that he died in
inconsistent
the fire.
with just him being in a fire. They were pretty inconsistent with that. So then, Ed really liked his mom. This is one of those emotionally incestuous relationships. Um, this is where the story of Psycho Norman Bates is based off. Is this relationship directly based off of this story with Ed Gein. Also, Leatherface, Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs is based directly off of Ed Gein. But so now it's him and his mom. She has a stroke, so now she's bedridden. He has to take care of her. But she really subjugates him. So she's one of those moms you can't do nothing right, and blah blah blah. She has another stroke, and then she dies. Well, now he's a single man in this dilapidated, nasty ass farm. He goes to the bars, he goes to the general store, but they just think he's just weird Ed. You know what I mean? And what they said was he's babysitting their kids.
Yeah.
if you already think he's weird, Ed."
He would babysit the kids. Yep.
They're like, we have Mo for dinner. He's babysitting the kids, and then you find out he does something like that. Really? Why are you having this 50-year-old man, weird Ed, babysit the kids? Well,
Uncle Pete now.
this
Even
lady,
us, if we have Uncle Pete, we always talk about Uncle Pete in the back room.
somebody go get them
Ain't
kids.
nobody leaving no kids with with Uncle Pete.
Somebody go get them kids. Somebody go find them kids. Where them kids at? So there's this bar. The lady's name was.
It was
Out to the Mercantile.
No, that was
Was
Mary
it Doc?
Hogan at the Mercantile. Bernice Warden was at the Mercantile.
Yeah.
There was Mary Hogan.
Mary Hogan.
Was the owner of the bar. She's a big, broad woman, loud talking, whatever. And
Like his mom.
like his mother, very outspoken and independent. And he murders her. They don't know. She just goes missing one day. For 3 years, she's missing until they find Bernice Warden's body at his house. But he always tells them that he did it. He's telling them the entire time that he did it, but they just think it's weird Ed. But hindsight being 2020, they're like, well,
So I think they said that she's missing, and he was like, "No, she's not.
she's at the house.
I just her, she's not missing."
I got her in the bag at the house. So,
Yep.
Yeah, in the bag at the house. So, hunting season comes around. I think it was 1958. I could have that date wrong, but hunting season comes around, and Bernice Warden owns the Mercantile. She's supposed to have it open. She's supposed to have it open because she normally did, and it's hunting season. So this is where you're gonna get your your weapons, your whatever you need. Well, she never opened that day. So in the afternoon, they're like, why is she still open? So they go, and she's not there. Her son is like, the last person that was in here was Ed. So they go out to the farm. I mean, it's as simple as that. There was like no investigation needed. We're gonna go out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it seems like today's investigations or whatever, they need a warrant. They need that's not enough. No, the police was like, well, let's go see. So
His
they go
name
out
on there.
there. They go into the woodshed, and in the woodshed they find Bernice strung up, upside down, headless, and disemboweled. Do you know what kind of shock that does to a 1950s Midwest white person?
From a little town.
Do you know what that does?
Well, no,
I mean, these are hunters, so they know that this looks like
Like she
a
was
deer
gutted.
heart.
Like when she like
She was
gutted like
gutted like
a
a
heart.
deer.
Yeah.
But to know that this wasn't actually the woman that used to work at the mercantile, so they arrest him, rightly so. They arrest him.
how do they know that's her? She don't have no head on. She laying there naked with her stuff cut all over.
I'm quite sure they knew her by her body, and they didn't say that her head wasn't there, just that she didn't have it attached to her.
Well, they found her head in a different room, didn't they? Or they found
Yeah.
somebody else's head?
That was Mary's head.
No, they found her head in a burlap sack.
They found Mary's head in the bag in the living room. Mary's face.
They found Mary's face in a paper bag, but it said Bernice's warning when I was looking. Her entire head was in a burlap sack, and her heart was in a plastic bag and a potbelly stove.
Yeah, he was cooking her. He was cooking her.
Nasty.
He was cooking her.
Nasty.
So, but who else could it be? You're in a town of 680 people, and the lady is missing, and she got boobs and the coochie,
and she got the receipt where he signed it. So, I mean,
That's her.
ain't nobody else.
So they take him to the jail. Go ahead.
No, I was saying when they was walking around there and find that belt made out of nipples.
They didn't do that until after he confessed. So they take him to the jail. He's not talking. He wants the apple pie with some cheddar cheese. They give him the apple pie. He eats the pie. He tells them everything. But not only does he tell them about the two murders, he tells them about everything else that they're about to find. So now they get a warrant and they go into the house. In the house is where they find the belt made of nipples. They find a lamp made of human skin. They find a face mask to the wall where he would skin, but these are from corpses. So he only killed two people. He was a grave robber. So these are from corpses. So he would skin their faces, stretch them out, and put paper behind them, and then put them on the wall. They found he would reupholster
9 vulvas in a shoebox.
What was he gonna make out of some vulvas?
I don't think he was making anything.
Have y'all seen the pictures? Did you see the nipple belt picture?
Yes.
No. You gonna have to send me the nipples.
I'm going to put what to send you.
I don't think he was
some leather belts with some notches on them, but I ain't never seen a nipple belt.
Well, I mean, those are the notches.
Stop. Stop.
I'm sorry.
Right
I'm sorry.
You're gonna get some nasty comments on this video.
Yeah, they don't be very happy about this.
Just because that notches.
Sorry.
See, I'm not even doing it this time.
I think he was probably gonna make like a leather, well, not leather because it's not a cow, but vulva keychains.
I don't think he was doing. I think maybe he was doing something else with the vulvas. Maybe sexual gratification.
He was collecting the vulvas. He was going to do something with it. Otherwise, he would have discarded them.
Let me send you.
And he was going to make keychains or make some little knickknacks.
I can't even. It defies logic of what you would do with 9 vulvas in a box.
Well, he was saving them to do something. I'm sure he had to save up all those nipples to make that belt.
What kind of vacation Bible school craft is this? Like, I don't understand.
Why you gonna say it's vacation Bible school? You know they ain't taking together vulvas down to the vacation.
They used to make you make those little houses and the picture frames out of popsicle sticks, and macaroni necklaces. He also reupholstered some chairs with some skin as well.
I sent y'all the nipple belt.
Okay. I'm gonna insert the nipple belt into this video. Um, he made a mammary vest and leggings. He
Ma-
made a mammary vest and put straps
Mammary.
on it
yes,
from a
memory.
corpse. He's walking around his house with tits, somebody else's tits on.
Were they deflated or
I
inflated?
mean, he got them from a corpse. So, I mean, I don't know if they were Mary's. So, if he got them from her when they were still pliable and did it, I don't know. But he had straps on it, and he also made a pair of leggings.
Yep. That's funny.
So he was literally able to become his mother.
He made some skin leggings.
Yes,
Yes.
Leggings.
leggings. That makes you rethink what you have in your drawer right now. Yes, ma'am.
He
Leggings.
must have found a little woman.
I mean, they could have been petite women. Well, not really. I mean, for the skin to stretch, she would have maybe been a pretty broad type woman, keep the skin stretched to put them on. He
Well, really,
wasn't a
I don't
small
know
guy.
how
And to sew
pliable
it and fix it.
his skin
Gotta be a
is.
lot of skin.
He wasn't a small guy.
I don't know how pliable dead skin is from a
Well,
corpse.
considering that this is a hunting community, you have to consider that these people hunt.
They
They know
probably so
they know how to dress out a carcass.
Mm-hmm.
They know how to dress out a carcass to not actually pierce the skin because they would have used the skin for other purposes. So they wouldn't have destroyed the carcass of a deer. I mean, the skin of a deer. They would have made that into leather. So these people know what tanning is. So he knows how to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
He
But you
knows
probably
how to
had
do
to for a while.
it. Yeah. So let's talk about the mom and the emotionally incestuous relationship that she had with him. Because his whole desire, they said when his mom died, like he cried like a little boy would cry, not like a 50 something year old man. Like he cried like a little boy would cry.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was his only friend. She wouldn't let no people come over to the house. He had one friend he made, brought him to the house, and mama told him, "You ain't gonna have no friends," and sent the boy back home. So he spent all his time with his mama, all
Yeah, that's
his
what I'm
time.
saying. That emotionally incestuous relationship that he had with her, mirroring the one that Armin Mivas had with his mom and their cannibalism. Do you
It
think
only seemed
that,
like he was even playing with his brothers.
right? But maybe he was jealous of his brother's attention too, to his mother's attention
Mm-hmm.
to his brother. Like his dad died, so that's one. And then I've got to get my brother out so I can have this for myself. I'm not saying that men who live with their moms or anything like that are going to become serial killer cannibals. But
So you think he killed his brother then?
I think he killed his brother because he wanted his mom's attention to himself. I think he
We
did.
himself.
Huh?
He had his mom to himself. His mom wasn't dealing with the other brothers like that.
But I'm just
But she
saying,
was like, wasn't she like mentally abusive though? Like, cause
yeah. So it's like he wants the attention that he gets from her is negative, but it's still his. And so he wants her to himself. So it doesn't matter if she's giving the attention to his brothers. They exist.
mm-hmm.
They exist. So the focus needs to be directly on him. Like now, no one else can. You can't rely on anybody but me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You have to only rely on me. So like a lot of serial killers have weird relationships with their moms. Um, I won't say a lot because I don't know a lot, but I know Ted Bundy had a weird relationship with his mom. They said that his older sister was actually his mother. Charles Manson weird relationship with his mom because wasn't she a prostitute and had him in the brothel?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I don't know. Like, are as moms are we ruining our kids and turning them into serial killers? Um, like, is there like And let's also consider when we talk about serial killers, let's talk about young gang members, regardless of color, the culture, who commit multiple murders. What is their relationship with their mom? Are they single moms? Are the mothers single and bitter against men because of the way they've been treated, and they project that to their sons? Like, it will be interesting to find out. Like, because I think that gang members who commit more than 3 murders, I think you're a serial killer. Um, you know, is it the mom's fault, or is it indirectly the mom's fault to having this incestually,
Definitely the
emotionally
person.
incestuous relationship?
It's the person in the game that told him he had to do these things, and he believes
Mm-hmm.
people
But like,
wanting to be accepted.
I understand that. I understand that. I understand that. But Jackie, please don't murder your kid on camera. Um, it's not a good look.
Well, we up here talking about mothers.
I didn't even
Right.
realize.
Right.
I didn't realize it was like this.
It's like, it's not a good look.
Well, we talk about mothers.
Talking about mothers.
He's not a serial killer, but he is definitely spoiled by his mom. But he's not a serial killer. That's what we're gonna do.
Okay. Remember the very first story that Jackie and I did was about Anthony. What was Anthony's last name? The first guy that we did, the donut murder.
I'm trying to think because I know the family. But
Right.
I can't remember last name. Doyle.
Anthony Doyle.
Doyle. Mm-hmm.
That was his stepmom, but she was in that case. It's not the same at all. But she was afraid of him, and so the treatment that she gave him would have been like, give him what he wants because I'm scared of this. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, do you know that this kid, something is wrong, and you cater to that in order for you to be safe?
Or you're supposed to go give him some help.
And she did. She did, actually.
She did.
She did kind of cater to him. Like, if, let's hypothetically say if he get an attitude with everybody and be like, well, I don't want to eat that. I want to eat this. They're going to eat that. What he wants.
So
because it was a fear.
And that gives him power.
Let's reference the Twilight Zone. You remember the little boy in the Twilight Zone? And he'd be like, you did this bad thing. You don't want to do that. That was Anthony. That was an Anthony Doyle. And you see that coddling, and I think maybe, I'm definitely putting way too much on mothers for this. So if you're a mom and you have a son, I'm not in any way saying that you're blamed, or so don't put that in the comments, okay? Don't. Because I just saved Jackie from Huntsville right now. Y'all saw that. I just saved her. And Ginger.
And I moved. I'm trying to see it if I was slow enough.
No, I saw it. I saw it.
Just tell him to put his hand in the camera.
Yeah, wave his hand in the camera. We need to know. Blink, son.
JJ, they said wave your hand in the camera. He okay?
We need to know you okay. All right. All right. We just need to know you was okay. It was touch and go for a minute there for you, son. Okay, so I just Ed Gein. Or let's just finish talking about Ed Gein because we went way far off on a tangent about everything else. So Ed Gein is like a cultural icon. So after he does this, of course, he's convicted. Well, he goes to an insane asylum for like 10 years. After that, he's declared sane enough to go to trial. Of course, he's convicted of the murder of Bernice. And then I don't think they tried him for Mary Hogan, but for Bernice, because that was enough. And he's in prison for life until he dies in 1984. But by this time, he's a cultural icon. Okay, they were supposed to in 1959, the year after, they were supposed to go and auction off his house and his belongings, but the house mysteriously burned down. He's buried next to his mom, but they vandalized the grave. They have to take his headstone and put it behind glass at the sheriff's department, which I think it's still there.
Isn't that ironic? All them graves that he done hacked into.
He gets a peaceful burial. Yeah.
You don't. He was trying to wear folks' grandmas and stuff.
Exactly. But he gets a peaceful burial.
And uncles, maybe.
I think that just goes kind of like to kind of like leans towards what as a Christian society what we think of people are old.
Jackie, you all right?
Who says stuff like this, Brandi? Who says this?
Jackie, you just have to plow right through what Brandi says.
Silverware grandmas. I was like, what?
You just have to keep going and
He was wearing folks' grandmas that made uncles.
I know, but okay.
Wearing people's grandmas to make uncles, is that what you said?
Huh?
What did you say? Wearing people's grandmas to
I said maybe grandmas
and uncles, yeah.
To make his leggings, but I think it's probably grandmas because he didn't want all that hair on the leggings. I need to go to sleep.
Can we turn her camera off?
Oh God.
Okay. This is what happens when we tonight. Okay, so he becomes a he dies in 1984, but by this time Leatherface comes out in the 70s, which scares the bejesus.
Grandma makes sense because they're a little bit more plus size, Brandi.
And not as much hair.
Because Brandi said it's stretch. Grandma's make sense. Sorry. I had to get that thought out. Okay, sorry.
We in trouble, Jack.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes our show for the day. We can go on. We can't go any further. I'm dead ass gonna end this right now because this cannot go on any further. We can't.
Don't forget Stay Marie earrings.
Stay Marie earrings and Blackpineboutique. We'll put those in the notes and everything else that we talked about today. But we are gonna go ahead and stop
because you gotta sew the tights because the skin gonna be wrinkly, but it'll be wide. It'll just be wrinkly. So if he tight enough, he would have his tights. He got to do a double stitch. You think he did a double stitch, Brandi?
A master stitch, probably.
Yeah.
But if you soaked it long enough, maybe the leg hair will come off.
Yeah. They were tanners, and you could just scrape it. Why am I getting into these shenanigans with y'all?
Oh yeah, that's how they could have got the hair off too.
Yeah. Yeah, how to do this?
That's it, Brand. You was thinking right.
What about they had do you think they had tattoos back then? You think it was a tattoo on the legging? I'm gonna look for a picture.
So you looking for a picture, Brand?
That way we can have clarification.
The women probably didn't have tattoos. Probably only the uncles, like if they was in the war or something.
Right. They got bruises.
I just know that we are going to get so many fucked up comments from this.
Sorry.
I mean, we're already in. We're already in.
It ain't my fault. It's you and Jackie. It's gonna be you with that nipple comment.
Apologize for the comment. I apologize profusely for the nipple comment. But it's apt though. So yeah, this is all bad, y'all. This is all bad. This is the last time, Brandi, that we go willy-nilly off of your suggestions about what the hell we should be talking about. Because this right here just
I just talked about him and you said, oh, let's do a story about it.
Brandi, I think they got hair on. They do. That's a penis. It's a penis on there. I'm gonna send it to you.
The leggings?
Yeah, it looks like this one. I'm trying to make sure it's the correct one. But this one is in a case. Like it's protected.
The leggings have a penis on it.
I'm gonna send you this leggings. Maybe these ain't the correct ones, but I'm just gonna see these leggings because you need to see them. That's why.
No, that's probably pube hair.
No, it's all over the legs. And it's
I have a very sick and macabre question. And then I'm gonna stop recording. What kind of closure did he have on those leggings? Did he use elastic or, elastic or a drawstring?
Maybe he was using the vulva.
Like he was stringing something through the vulva
A button.
as a button.
He had a button over there and he squeezed the vulva over there to catch.
Oh, this is horrible.
You asked.
I know, and I shouldn't have. This is all bad.
Y'all should see this vest.
Look at Jackie.
She is
We can't
completely
record this
fascinated.
late at
No, we can never record at this hour because obviously we go completely off the rail and there is no coming back from this. So again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us this week. We went way too far, and
I
we are going.
apologize for Brandy and Jackie. I apologize for them.
Thank
Sorry.
you so much. Thank you.
Anytime.
Thank you so much. We will come back next week, nice and wholesome, and without this type. No, it's not going to be wholesome. But we're going to try to rein it in next week. So hopefully you join us again after this. Yeah, now
So many photos.
bye y'all. We'll see y'all next week.